Dear D Diaries, let's have a peek at today's top secret diary entry, shall we?
Down, yeah. I've been feeling so.
What's up everybody, this is your girl D and welcome to the first of my many diary entries where I'll be sharing with you fun and useful tidbits about my experiences that you might want to hear about as well. In this video, I am going to be telling you all about my traveling experience as an international student from the Philippines. Make sure to pack your things because I'll be taking you on a journey that goes from one end of the globe to another. So for today's ride, I'll be letting you have a look at what it's like to travel from my home country, the Philippines, all the way to, drumroll please, Canada. And if you stick around till the end, you'll also get an up-close and personal mini tour of my school, the Memorial University of Newfoundland. Without further ado, let's go! First stop, Ninoy Aquino International Airport in Manila, arguably the easiest and shortest part of this journey. I traveled to this international airport in the city of Manila with a friend. The requirements for flying to Manila from other cities in the Philippines are definitely less strict than the international flight requirements. In my case, an RT-PCR COVID test was not needed to enter Manila, but be aware that regulations and requirements can change anytime depending on the COVID-19 situation. Make sure to always check the websites of the city you're entering and the airline you're using for any announcements. In my case, I only had to present my ticket and a valid ID, wear a face mask and face shield, and we were ready to go. Voila! We arrived in Manila at around 10:30 in the morning, but our flight out of the country was at 11:45 of that night. So what do we do with over 12 hours of potential boredom? Well, in our case, we checked into the Wings Transit Lounge, a hotel located on the 4th level of NAIA Terminal 3. They offer beds, a shower, Wi-Fi, food, and water for any travelers looking for a place to rest. Considering all the packing I had to do the night before I left, believe me, the rest was very much needed. 4 hours before our flight, we went to the verified to fly desk of Etihad Airways to present our tickets and our negative RT-PCR test result. Checked in our luggage, then went straight to immigration. Pro tip, if you're flying with Etihad Airways, make sure you're verified to fly to avoid long lines during check-in. You can check if you're verified to fly by accessing your flight details on Etihad's official website. After the long lines nightmare that was immigration, I was finally able to board my flight for... can you guess where? Canada? Oh, I wish. But we weren't able to book a direct flight, so we had to take a connecting flight in a different country. Can you guess where? Well, it was none other than the city of Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. The flight took 9 whole hours, so you can imagine my legs were pretty cramped after the whole thing. But Etihad's impeccable service made that super long flight a bearable one, offering a TV for movies, onboard Wi-Fi for only a small fee, good food, and even some blankets and pillows for sleeping. It was early in the morning when we arrived in Abu Dhabi International Airport. Fortunately, there was no need to head into immigration again. Just search for your gate number and make sure you have your boarding pass with you and get ready to fly. Easy peasy. After a 6-hour layover spent taking loads of pictures around the admittedly gorgeous Abu Dhabi International Airport, now we're off to Toronto Pearson International Airport. But of course, only after a much longer 14-hour flight. Finally, after almost 14 hours of essentially living in airport, we finally set foot onto Canadian soil. But arriving in Canada doesn't mean your travels are over. I mean, immigration! Definitely one of the most nerve-wracking parts of this trip, or so I thought. I mentally prepared myself to answer any questions they might ask me, especially if I had to defend that I truly came to Canada to study. After hearing horror stories from some friends who had to go through immigration for over 5 hours, we ran to immigration like our life depended on it the minute the plane doors opened. However, immigration was a surprisingly faster and easier process than I was expecting. Just prepare your passport, study permit, letter of acceptance from your school, negative RT-PCR test result, arrival receipt, and other supporting documents, then you'll be fine. You also have to answer some basic questions to make sure you familiarize yourself with your school, your program, and your supporting documentation just in case. Additional tip, the longer your layover time in Canada, the better. Remember that you will be screened at immigration before you can board your next flight, so you're gonna wanna allot enough time for that in case there are long lines. Also, make sure you know which terminal you are going to for your domestic flight if you need to go to another city other than your port of entry. In our case, we transferred from Terminal 3 to Terminal 1. We almost got lost, but believe me, that's a long story that can wait for another time. Pro tip, don't be afraid to ask for directions if you need them. Seriously, you'll thank me. After checking in with Air Canada, we boarded the plane to St. John's. From there, off we go to the province of Newfoundland where my college life awaits. We arrived in the city early in the morning and went straight to Comfort Inn Hotel where we stayed for a few days before going to our final destination. By the way, we were exempted from having quarantine since we were fully vaccinated with one of the Health Canada approved vaccines before traveling to Canada. Now off to our last stop for this journey, welcome to Memorial University of Newfoundland. To give you a glimpse of our enormous beautiful St. John's campus, I filmed some places that I often go to for you to see. Now prepare to be amazed. So guys, let me wrap things up here. The journey was tiring, but I can't deny that it was an unforgettable experience. It was my first time flying somewhere outside of Asia, so it was definitely one to remember. If you want to hear more about my experience and life as an international student in Canada, make sure to watch out for even more videos where I talk about some other topics that might interest you if you're also planning on coming to Canada to study. And if ever you have questions or suggestions for future content, just comment them down below or shoot me a message through one of my social media accounts displayed on the screen. Just a gentle reminder, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You'd really be helping me out. Thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you guys in my next diary entry. Love, D.